Yo, what is going on, YouTube? We are out here with another banger, back at it. And in this video, what I want to talk to you, yes, you, what I want to talk to you about is why what's holding you back is literally your mindset. It's not the physical actions that you're not taking, although that might be part of it. It's actually how you think about the goals you have for yourself. See, if you think of yourself in a particular light, you're going to take actions that are congruent with the person, the character that you identify as. And so if you identify as somebody that makes a lot of money, then you're going to make a lot of money and you're going to take the actions that are congruent with that. If you identify yourself as somebody that has six pack abs and that is jacked, then you're going to end up making congruent moves that align with that. You're going to take actions that align with that. It all starts with the mindset and how you think about yourself, your belief systems, your thought patterns. And, if you think of yourself as somebody that's fat, that's overweight, that's lazy, that can't accomplish the things he says he wants, then you're going to end up doing the exact same thing, taking actions that don't align with that. And the reason why 99% of the world is fat, broke, out of shape, and weak minded is because they consume information that aligns with that, right? They're making excuses and they're not actually identifying as that person. And when you start to self identify as somebody that can have the things that you say you want, that's when everything opens up. When you start to understand that the only person holding you back is yourself. And I'm going on this video topic because, this morning when I woke up, you ever have a thought come in your head in the morning time? Maybe that's just me. I think you guys probably can relate though. I had this thought this morning when I woke up, that was along the lines of, the thought that was on my mind this morning when I first rose, but was, you know, I can't fail if I don't identify as a failure, right? I can't lose if I don't identify as a loser. And the main reason that so many people fail is they just don't identify and take the correct actions. So when I woke up this morning, I realized that everything stems from our mindset and the way we think about ourselves. And I recently hit a bunch of goals that I set up for myself so long ago. And I realized this morning when I woke up that the only reason that I actually achieved these things is because I deep down believed that it was going to happen. I didn't know when, I didn't know exactly how, but I knew why. And, there were career goals. Some of them were financial goals. Some of them were mindset goals. I'm going to, become this person. And I just had some thoughts like I already checked all these goals off the list, right? And it wasn't until I truly started to identify as the person that had the things that I said I wanted where I started to have them. Because there's a big difference between saying you want something and actually wanting it. In the past couple of months, you guys, I fully embodied the things I wanted, right? I fully embodied getting my business to the point that I wanted to get it to, where I had my time freedom back and I was able to focus on myself. I started to really just sit in the position of, okay, like I already have this business. It's been up off the ground for quite some time now, but where is it that I really want to take this? And I sat with it and I thought about the amount of people I wanted to help, the lives I wanted to change. I thought about how, I wanted to bring my faith into the business. I thought about how I wanted to use this as a stepping stone to the next parts of my life with my fitness business. And as I started to identify with that and think of myself as the person capable of achieving these things I set out for myself, the next thing you know, I achieved those things. The connections started to show up in my life. The relationships started to show up, the friendships, people started to reach out to me. My clients started getting better results, all of these things. I started to do the things that I knew I needed to be doing all along. For the longest time, as an example, I used to hate reading books. And I told myself that this was like maybe 2 days before 2025 kicked off. I told myself that in 2025, I'm going to read a bunch of books. And I set these high expectations for myself. And because I set such high expectations, I took so much more action and I was congruent and in alignment with the person that I told myself I wanted to be. And as I started to read these books, I realized that I actually was interested in every single topic that I read. and I still have a bunch of books on my shelf that I'm, getting through. And I realized that the process itself of getting 1% better every single day, or heck, for me, bro, like I'm trying to get 50% better every day, if that's even possible. But like having these clear expectations, these outlines for my life, where I wanted to go, and having the roadmap of like, okay, if I do these things, there is no chance I fail. For example, I told myself in January kicked off, that I was going to read a couple books. I'm almost done with my sixth book, and it's February 1st. Bro, I don't even think I read more than 3 books last year, to be super honest. Like 3 books, and I actually absorbed them, the information. So, like, that's just an example, right? Another thing I told myself was I was going to cut out the processed foods. And just like that, it became so easy to stop eating all the foods that didn't work well with me. And I really started to solidify my nutrition. My main nutrition is like eggs, chicken sausage, beef, chickpea pasta, a little bit of Parmesan cheese here and there, fruit, Greek yogurt, unsweetened cacao, which is not chocolate, but it's the next best thing, and raw honey. Like pretty much that's been what the staple of my nutrition has looked like. I started, taking my faith a lot more seriously, reading my Bible more, all because I identified as the person that reads his Bible consistently, because I identified as the person that takes his nutrition seriously. I identified as the person that takes his health seriously. I identified as the person that is a role model for his clients, for his business, the type of person that is capable of scaling his business to the point where he can help so many people. And as I started to do that, I realized that I became more and more intrigued with learning about the business, with reading the books, with eating the healthy foods, not with the end result. And so I told myself that like when I do these things, I'm gonna feel great. But really, it was in the fulfillment, the journey itself. Like I've talked about in some other videos where I started to really find fulfillment, and it became addicting, like addicting to see the success of my own life unfold. And these are habits that I'm still staying on top of. And I feel so good simply because I started to put my own self first consistently for the first time in so long. Not to say that I wasn't doing this in the past, but I think when you go through a period of time where you are checking things off the box that you want done in your life, and you're saying, bro, I don't care, like I'm actually going to make this work, and you tie positive reinforcement to those goals, it becomes easier to stick with. In the past, I used to always have these goals of like, I'm going to be this disciplined person, I'm going to achieve these goals, and I would always tie this negative emotion behind it, meaning like I would always think of myself as like not the type of person that I claimed to be because I wasn't taking actions. But when I started to switch it and realized that it was actually enjoyable to achieve these things, to check these things off the list, that's when it became so much easier to follow through with my business goals, with my financial goals, with my fitness goals, with my educational goals, like reading books, reading podcasts, or listening to podcasts, reading articles, right? And also like being more of the type of person I wanted to be. Now that I have a business, I run an online business. I told myself that I wanted to be more social on social media and connect with other business owners. And guess what happened just a couple short weeks ago? I literally met a bunch of people at a networking event. I met people of all different calibers of business, all different levels, and all different facets, right? And I started to realize that the things I identified as, the things I told myself I wanted, and things I wrote down in my notebook literally came true because I started to think about them more. And so, what I want to briefly end this video on, it's only been 10 minutes, it's going to be a short and concise one, is the things that you constantly think about, the things that you constantly associate with yourself, the characteristic traits, or whatever, the character traits that you identify with, that eventually rubs off into your own life until it consumes you. And that can be a good or a bad thing. So, if you're around people that are smoking, drinking, partying, guess what's going to happen to you? Eventually, those character traits are going to rub off to you, but you don't have to use it as a negative. You can use it as a positive. I never identified myself in the past as somebody who was able to read a bunch of books, go to the library, do all these things. But when I started to actually associate myself as the type of person that takes action and aligns himself with where he wants to be, it became so much easier. There was so much less friction to achieve these things. And I started to have a lot more connections in person, in the social media presence. A lot of my friends literally are super successful because I started to identify as somebody that was successful myself. And I started to just attract people into my life that had similar mindsets, similar goals, and the people that, with all due respect, are not trying to take their life to the next level and are not spending their time leveling up, bettering themselves, working on personal development, reading, exercising, those people I started to become more and more distant from, not because I purposely pushed them away, but because I literally didn't have anything in common with them anymore. And so I started to just attract more people into my life that had things in common with myself. And it's a win-win because it helps me get better, but also it helps them get better. They're surrounded by people that are going hard. And truly, if you want to become the type of person that you say you want to become, then you need to put yourself in an environment, put yourself in a room with people that are where you want to be or on the path, right? And so if you're associating yourself with somebody that is successful in their business, jacked, right, like in good shape, prioritizes their nutrition, whatever skill you want to acquire, whatever results you want in your life, if you associate yourself with the people that have the things you want and the people that are heading in that trajectory, then pretty soon you end up, becoming that person, and that rubs off on you, and vice versa. If you want to help somebody else, then the more time you spend with them, the more they're going to become like you. And one of my biggest goals in 2025 was to be a lot more generous, with helping people in less fortunate situations, because I know in the past when I was, you know, in a spot where I didn't have everything I wanted, people lent their hands out to me and helped me out. And I always wanted to help those people. And so being able to do those things just started to feel natural because I surrounded myself with people that were also super generous, super, other first oriented. And my faith started to improve because I started to associate with people that were, on the same mindset as I, had the same belief systems, the same values. So what I want to end the video on is why when you associate yourself with the people you want to be like, and you identify yourself as one of those people that has the character traits, then you become the person you want to become. So that's a sign that the video is going to end here, but I'll see you guys in the next video and level up your life.